Hey, how's it going? This is Nowhere Bound, returning after a brief hiatus. I've just been kind of crazily busy and I don't really have a schedule for releasing videos, but I had a big break there. But I've just been collecting, selling a few books with my brother, Paleozoic Comics, who is awesome. We have a good time. We go to shows and stuff, mostly just locally. And otherwise, just been collecting. I mean, probably the last big book I got was this guy, a little Hulk Annual #1, which I was really happy to pick up from some sellers named the Brothers Grin, another brother duo that had some really awesome books. Actually, their dollar bins were amazing. So uh, if you're ever in Minnesota, look up the Brothers Grin. So yeah, that was a good pickup. But anyway, I just thought I'd finally return here. I don't know, I've had a lot going on, but I don't know how these people do videos every week. I don't really have any kind of set schedule, but I've been enjoying a lot of the content out there. I've been, let's say, Brandon from Mon Comics has had some awesome stuff out there. Ricky from All Sorts of Words. My old pal Sith Lordly with Spine Ticks is always an amazing hang Saturday nights. So stuff like that. I mean, I there's so many names I could mention, but I blank out. But yeah, just a lot of good content out there. So yeah, I've probably been enjoying that too much and not producing my own content. So, but anyway, I just got this 4-book vintage. There it is. 4-book vintage set here, back from CGC. I actually didn't use my membership for a full year. It was literally a day after my deadline, and this batch was accepted, and they weren't going to credit my, I had the middle tier, whatever, the 150 credit. They weren't going to give it to me, and I called them up and I'm like, hey, it was in the mail, before it got to you before the deadline, but you just didn't check it in until after. And they're like, yeah, we can release that credit. So they nicely did that, and that was really nice. So I did get credit, but yeah, a full year without doing a submission. So I thought this was kind of exciting. These are some fun books. It's like 4 very different books. There's not a DC in here. I apologize, but quite an interesting variety. So I'm gonna go through these. I do know the grades because I did a video last night, and I looked at it later and I was like, oh yeah, I said Western every time I meant to say Whitman, and then I said Ringmaster instead of the character Mastermind, and I was like, I can't edit. It would take too long, so I'm just gonna make another video. So here we go. Yeah, and here's the first book, and this is kind of expected. This is a book I bought with my brother, Paleozoic Comics. So when you say, well, you bought it with your brother, what are you going to do? Well, we're probably going to sell this one, because otherwise I could pay him and then keep the book, which actually is not a bad idea because it's a great book. But I think we're going to sell this, and maybe I'll get a better grade for this one. But so yeah, these books run the gamut from low grade to pretty high grade. And here's the lowest grade book in the batch. It's X-Men 4. This is one that we were at a show in January, and a gentleman came up and said, hey, I'd like to sell this book I've had for like 20, 30 years or something. And we offered him some what we thought was fair, but we said you should check with the other vendors. They might be able to pay you more. And he came back later and he said, you guys get it. And so we picked this up. It's very cool. The colors, actually for a 1.0, so the cover's detached. You can see there's a huge split right along here, like 6 inches. It goes down to about where the toad is there. I didn't do anything with this book. I thought, okay, the cover's kind of fragile. The pages inside look really good. They look like maybe off-white, but so I just went ahead and just sent it in as is. I didn't think that a press would really give it anything, so but I just thought encapsulating is a good idea because the cover looks so great to kind of hold it together. You can see the main cover looks really good, even with that little split on the side and that little chip out right there. And there's a little chip there. Yeah. So for a 1.0, that's probably about as good as you can expect the cover to look. And yeah, the back, it looks pretty good. There was this, obviously this tape, you know, you can see the yellowed where the cellophane tape was, and that's what caused the split, like right along the edge of where they had taped right along the spine. So that's what happened with that book, but still very cool to have. Yeah, I think it was a good idea to get it graded just to, you know, quantify what this is. What a great book. I took pictures of every page. I'm gonna print out a awesome facsimile of this book. I mean, not a facsimile, but just like a copy of the actual book from the photos, which will be cool to have as well. So yeah, so that's that. X-Men 4, 1964. I think there's about 3,000 of these graded on CGC. So very cool to have though. I mean, second Magneto, first Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. You got a green Scarlet Witch here and her brother Pietro, Quicksilver, Toad, Mastermind right here. Yeah, I think in the first video I called him Ringmaster. Fantastic Four is in the brain, I don't know. So yeah, that shoe ad, I tell you, can make some big bucks selling shoes on the side. So very cool to have that. Yeah, actually very happy with that. And the second book is really cool. This was a local buy. My brother and I, again, so this is another one we'll probably sell. This is, there are 30, I want to say 33 graded of this book, so it's pretty rare. So when we saw it, we were like, oh, if it's complete, this is amazing. So it was in a bunch of comics that were for sale, and we got a pretty good price. So we picked this up. We realized it was attached and complete, and actually got a better grade than we thought. I thought it was maybe a 3.0, but it got a 3.5. It does have that chunk out there. This is United States Marines number 7 from, it was printed November 1951, came out in 1952. A little tear there, but otherwise the cover, again, the colors are really good. It's this insane flamethrower cover where, I mean, yoik. But yeah, this is, you know, right in the middle of the Korean War here. So you got some violent action going on there. Bob Powell art. I'm not sure if the cover's Bob Powell. I thought I had seen somewhere that Dick Ayers did some art in this too. The art on the inside is really, really amazing. I also took pictures of this too, so very cool to have. But yeah, very happy with this. Only 33 on the census. There's 4 total 3.5s. I think that includes this. Yeah, so yeah, very rare. And if you want some, you know, something from the fun shop, you know, there's a nice ad on the back. Uncle Bernie will set you up. Yeah. So very happy with that grade. You know, I didn't know, it was pretty low grade, but a 3.5. The highest grade in this is an 8.0. There's, yeah, again, 33. So there's not very many of these. So very cool to have, to find something that rare. The next one is one from my personal collection. This is really cool. I thought it might get higher grade. I thought it was maybe a 7.75. It's Man-Thing #1. This I bought at a science fiction convention, I think in the late 70s. Might have been the early 80s. I think I paid $9 for Man-Thing #1 in like 78, 79. I was like 13, something like that. So pretty cool though. There wasn't any comic vendors at this science fiction convention in Minneapolis. And but this there was one vendor that had this, and I was like, hey, a comic vendor. So I found it and was pretty impressed. So it got a 6.0. Had this since I was 13, so pretty cool. It's in good shape, except for I think this was really another hit right here, was the stain right here on the Evel Knievel ad. Very cool. But you gotta love that Frank Brunner cover. There's like a light remnant of a stamp right there. And yeah, actually, there's more spine ticks than I thought there were, actually, when I look at it now. But just a cool book. I just kind of decided at some point, I'm just gonna encapsulate this childhood favorite of mine for my collection. So yeah, great for display. You know, the cover's amazing. Second Howard Duck, come on. Yeah, very happy with that. So there's book #3. And the final book. Oh, and by the way, Mon Comics will probably enjoy that childhood Man-Thing copy there. So yeah, but this one, I was talking to Ricky at All Sorts of Words, which is another great channel you should sub up to, as well as Brandon from Mon Comics. I had found this copy of Addams Family #1, and I was again at a sale in January, and I've never made a trade. This is my first trade. We had a Johnny Quest #1. This other seller had a buyer on that he wanted to find a lower grade Johnny Quest #1 because he had a really high grade one. So he asked us what we'd take for that, and we ended up doing a deal. My brother goes, well, he's got a Wolverine #1. I would like that. It wasn't the limited series; it was the regular series, and from '88. And so he picked that up, and I picked this up, and we got a little cash. Also, this had a sign, which I have right here, had a little tag on it that said, very fine 75 for Addams Family #1. And I looked at it and I go, that looks more like near mint minus to me. So, after I cleaned and pressed it, which I thought I did a great job, but not as good as I thought. So anyway, it got a 9.2, which is actually really good for this book. Addams Family #1 in a 9.2. I was a little disappointed to see that there were still a few light cover creases. So my press apparently didn't hold up too good. I'm gonna have to redouble my efforts on figuring out what I did wrong there. But for the most part, I mean, both cleaning and pressing, it definitely helped it out though. I mean, it probably was like an 8.5 before, but it does have a few light creases along the spine. Nothing color breaking or anything. So, I mean, there's no real ticks or anything. I mean, although you can have a little white along the spine there. So, but also the one other note was there was a light roughness to this corner. So you can kind of see there. That was the one other thing. Otherwise, you can see it's very clean. So really happy, other than apparently I didn't quite get the press down. You know, sometimes it regresses a little bit after the press. I don't know. Yeah, anyway, I was hoping for a 9.4, but you know, the highest grade in this, by the way, oh yeah, I should have said, CGC has, for Gold Key, the Gold Key version, whoa, my light just disappeared on me. Let me just get that. This is one take here. We're not messing around. There we go. All right. So Gold Key, there's only like 70 something copies of this, and the high grade is 9.6. And so there's 11 9.2s, and there's only like 8 9.4 and 9.6s. So there's only 8 higher grades in this. So that's kind of cool. So still a very high grade Addams Family #1. And as Ricky on his channel, who he's been collecting these New Yorker magazines with the original Charles Addams cartoons of the Addams Family, which is amazing, with like First Wednesday and all that stuff from like the 40s, 30s, 40s. Really cool stuff. But as he mentioned, this is the first comic to actually name the Addams Family, because in a lot of Charles Addams's work, it doesn't really say, hey, I'm Wednesday and I'm, Hand or whatever, or Thing, I mean, not Hand. Yeah, so that's kind of cool that this is the first named Addams Family, and it took years after. I don't know why there wasn't a comic book for the the awesome show on the 60s. Like the Munsters had a comic, Dell or Gold Key, I think it was Dell, comic, which is very cool. But it took till the 70s and Hanna-Barbera doing this cartoon for them to come out with the Addams Family comic book. So, but still very cool. And like Scooby-Doo #1, this is very rare in a high grade. Yeah, there's like the Whitman variant is the rarest, and there's like 30 something, I think 31 or 33 copies of the Whitman variant, and that's maybe worth a little more. And then this one has like 70 something. So really only graded copies, only on CGC, there's only 110 or so copies. So that's kind of cool. So again, a pretty rare for 1970s book. So yeah. So anyway, that's it for me. All right, we'll talk to you soon.